Welcome. This is Barry Jones from the Angel School, and we're here for our weekly angel reading for January the 27th through February 2nd, 2020. So let's take a moment to take a deep breath and to really connect in with our heart flame. And as they're beginning, they're showing me a gateway and some angel numbers. Wow, and there's just way too many of them that are flashing to go through each of them. So this is probably an indication of messages that will be coming in from your angels. And it feels as though there are many messages as the numbers keep appearing. But this gateway is very interesting because it's like a doorway. Just the doorway, but that feels like it's made from stone. And so it indicates some kind of transition and a very spiritual, high vibrational transition. It is a transition for the heart. They're just showing me a heart, and they keep writing Lord. And one of the Ascended Masters that has come through today is Jesus. And he came in sort of a very glorious form today with robes and almost the sort of a robed with a furs, but it's almost like wings. Where you would see like a fur on the top half, but it was more like wings. And a lamb, a beautiful white lamb, was floating above his head. And so what Jesus has come through today is to facilitate a emotional, psychological connection within your heart. And this will bring about a transformation in delays, in abundance. As he just wrote out the angel number 8. And let's take a look, because now as I'm watching this, that very first number is the one I think that's really important. But there's a series, and the first number I saw was 85. And it says, hooray, you're experiencing positive changes in your financial situation. So this is really about healing, opening your heart up right now to the healing that the universe is assisting you with. It's trying to help you to clear your heart of those things that are creating delays in abundance, in your desires and the things that you wish to manifest. And there's a book that's opening now. And what it appears to be is that it's representing information. And that book just sort of flew into the sky. And so there's some sense of you're going to, some of the things that you believe, some of the information that you've been taught, that you've been working with in that psychological, emotional connection, is that you're going to be letting that go, and that you're going to need to let that go. And so what they really want you to do is, in your heart right now, to allow your heart to be purified, of anything that no longer serves you. And this is where Jesus wants to work with you. And he's saying that he would like to work with you with this light, this white flame, to purge the feeling. So there are feelings that you have where you just don't feel safe, that you're constantly worrying, and you're constantly like you're worried about your role or your job. Like you have this sense of that you're just not safe, that you have to keep it all going, all by yourself, that there's no system in place that the universe has, that the laws of attraction are not there and not orchestrating and drawing towards you your deepest desires. And that because of this, you're creating a disruption in the pattern of abundance that your soul is automatically aligned with, because it's fully aligned with God's love. It's fully aligned with the Sacred Heart. And every desire that inspires you comes from the Sacred Heart of God, comes from this unconditional place of love. And you have access to this right now, right where you are. No matter where you are and what conditions that you stand in today, you have access to this. But the only impediment to this is worry. Worry creates all different kinds of signals of anxiety, stress, limitations, restrictions. It creates this in your physical body. It creates it in your emotional well-being, in your mental capacity to be aware of, starting with the word options as a sort of practical, safe word, because opportunities for some just seems way out of reach. This idea, even choice, in a mind where we're worried when we don't feel safe. And worry cultivates this lack of trust. It almost like it creates, worry within itself creates a dogma that you believe in. And you're fighting it. They just wrote the word fight. You are fighting this belief. Because if you worry, you have a belief in lack. If you're worrying, you have a belief in the opposite of everything that you want. Worry is a sign that you are resisting what is naturally unfolding. Worry, anxiety, stress, to practice this, to not try to disrupt this practice, is interfering and is creating. You don't know how you're creating, but you can feel the process of what you're creating. You can feel that you are disconnecting, disenabling, and disassembling. You're doing everything within your power, because that's the moment, the instant that you know your power is being activated, but just in the way that you do not wish it to be. And worry, if this is the right word, illegitimizes, if that's a word, the prayer, the desire. It makes it, it's like you're nullifying, and then you're waiting. It's like you accidentally, like, you know how you're online and you purchase something and they give you a window to cancel, and somehow you push the cancel button and you don't realize it. And it's like the worry and stress, because you're not focused, you accidentally press cancel. And then you stand every day waiting for something to arrive that can't arrive because you already canceled it. Or it's like stuck in limbo. It got lost because you are pushing it away. They really want you to understand, and I can feel that many of you are being nurtured by, your hearts are being nurtured right now by the angels as you hear these words. The analogies may seem simple or overly simplified to some of you, but if you pay attention, you feel your heart chakra cooling off. There was a heat building, and that healing was intensifying. All that energy, divine energy, it was being directed towards your heart chakra, and your soul flame from within was purifying you, helping to extract the entanglements around this belief, to give you a sense of relief. So right now you may feel a sense of relief or release. Depends on you, how much you're wanting. We're hoping that you're wanting absolute freedom from this. But you must move away from this worry, this ability to worry, this a practice of worrying. It's like you're going to the gym and you're working out this muscle. And most of us have huge muscles in worry. So we've amassed this intense power to cancel out a flicker of desire. Faith. And there's that doorway as soon as I said that. And a presence walking through it or entering it, standing there tall in that doorway. See angels standing in that doorway now. Faith. And I was talking to my father, and he was talking about this, and then, and I asked him, I said, well, what does this, in your 70-some years, what does this mean to you? Because it's, even though we talk about it, it's still confusing. And for him, it's no doubt. And he described to me a situation in his life where I don't know which, because he told me things I didn't know about his health, and that he had a stroke in the 5th grade, and then he went into Vietnam War, and he knew that he was going to come back. Like, if I remember what he said correctly. And he said he had no doubt. And he said for him, that's faith. And I know I've had moments where the feeling, like, and he put it to me like this: if a doctor told you that something was going to happen to you, or somebody said something was going to happen, but you feel instantly that this is not the way it's going to be, and you stick with that. I mean, something compels you to trust that. And he said, that's the faith right there. That's the faith in action right in that moment. And he said something else I've heard people say too, which is if you go and you keep praying about it, that's not faith. The first time you asked and you knew, or you had the desire, because some of you don't, you pray in different ways, right? So sometimes you have this desire and you know right in that moment that everything within you is never going to give up on that. And somehow you know that everything within you is going to pursue it. Faith, again. And so we have to adopt faith. And I think in this moment that faith is something that we truly can adopt. We can adopt this because we adopted worry. And our faith comes from a knowing that comes from something much higher than ourselves. That knowing comes from God in some way. And you don't know why you know, and you don't know why you believe it. But the thing that we're trying to tell you today is that the things that you worry about consistently, like a pattern, you've adopted a faith that things will not work out for you, or that you have to worry yourself to death, meaning stress, because, and he said this too, and I knew this, but this is what causes illness. This is what breaks worry. Fear breaks down. It's deconstructive. It breaks down the energy source supply within your cells to heal. It's like your body naturally wants to rise to the surface, naturally wants to bounce back. But when you worry, you are suppressing, as if you're drowning yourself, holding yourself underneath the water, drowning yourself second by second by second by second by second. And the only reason we do continue to live is because sometimes at some moment, like the pressure gets too much and you have to let yourself up to the surface, but then you put yourself right back down again. And so, I think in recent weeks we were talking about finding a belief or idea where you have no disagreement within yourself. To focus on a thought, or focus on a memory, or to focus on something, a project, where you have no disagreement within yourself. Because that disagreement is the beginning of conflict, which will lead and evolve into worry and stress and anxiety. And these practices are not healthy. And they're definitely not healthy for your heart. They do not build the heart's ability to radiate this faith, this trust, this knowing, and this inspiration, this motivation. It does not do that. Now, you may say, well, okay, faith, but works without faith. And the thing about it is, the universe, you are co-creating with the universe. First, you offered the desire, so you started it. And even then, that was still a co-creation. It's never a moment where it's you or the universe. Because experiences are all understood and overseen by your higher soul. It is always paying attention, listening and understanding and guiding and cultivating, turning everything, even when you are in this moment feeling so lost, it is turning all of that into a profound desire of inspiration, because that's how we are able to feel or be enlightened within really challenging situations. Because your higher soul is always about that. And so at some point, that whatever that culminates into becomes such a strong and intense desire, a fire like lava, that when it cools, it has to turn into some form. And so does your worry. It just turns into a form that brings about consequences that are unfavorable to you, and in the way that because you perceive them that way. You got to remember too, that's another component of all of this, but let's not pull that in right now. But there's no part that you're alone. And so the part I was trying to get to, or they were giving me this sense of, is that you have to pay attention. Once you have the desire, now you have no time to worry, because you need to stay alert to all the creativity, the ideas, the ways, the inspiration, because that's what the foundation of creativity is. This is the voice of God. You've heard me say this so many times. It's the language of the universe. It's to inspire you, never to frighten you. And that's one way to know the difference. And it's not a thing of difference of good and evil. It's a difference of, am I wanting to fulfill, and am I going to work towards that? Or am I going to sabotage myself because I don't believe in myself? That is the true evil. If you want to really say that evil exists, and you must, because it's in your belief system, you just have to believe it and you have to give credence, then this is what you must understand evil is. When you sabotage yourself, when you withhold from you that which you deserve, this love that you deserve, and others deserve it too when they benefit from your service. So you hold back much from the world when you believe and worry. This is the only form of evil that I would even entertain. Okay. So let's go ahead and take a look at the cards and see what's going on in this week. Look at our Archangel theme and message. Hello from heaven. You know, I'm sorry it's very dark today because of the rain that we're going to have in New York. But this message is the Archangel Azrael. And it says, your loved ones are in heaven and doing fine. Let go of worries and feel their loving messages. So this, I feel like the Archangel Azrael, who helps console us during our grief. And I'm feeling like this may be a grief of not only loss of a loved one, but other forms of loss. And there may, for some of you, have been a moment, a series of moments, or part of your life where you experience the loss of a loved one, And there were effects from that as well, that something happened in your life, some other tragedy that just began to cause this domino effect that you allowed as you began to not be able to release your grief, or to heal and to move forward, to accept the new, for every ending there is a beginning. And that there's that space after you experience loss, and I guess in that time of shock. And in that time of shock, you're kind of neutral. It's sort of like just a moment, like the shock hits and it stuns you, and it kind of just immobilizes all kinds of emotional intensities that you're usually sort of what do I want to say, the word I'm looking for, not cultivate, but the things that you tend to run. So you sort of, like on a live stream, you kind of just, on a news feed, you kind of keep, these things keep repeating, and they evolve into these patterns. And when in that moment of shock, whatever type of loss it is for you, everything, you're just stunned, right? Everything kind of just sort of suspends for a moment until something, and then how you come out of it, determines where you're focused. Either you're inspired and motivated, or you are bereft beyond, the ability to be consoled, and you just continue in a particular vein. And so this may be a message directly to someone and loved one who's saying to you that they're okay, and they want you to be okay, and they want you to move on. They want you to step, they're bringing up that doorway again. They want you to step through that doorway, and they want you to allow yourself to be healed. Allow your when you go through, that doorway is going to purify. It's a doorway of change, and they want you to walk through it, because life continues. Life continues for them as a soul and for you. There is no death in the sense that we understand it. There is no complete ending. And we see this throughout the universe, where decay forms, eventually new life. A new life form will grow in its place and grow over that decay. And you need to allow for this to happen. And on a larger scale, this is what needs to happen, or is happening for all of us and the planet right now. And we need to allow it to happen. So we're really stuck in all the things, we're in like right now, our planet is really in a state of shock. And what happens politically and worldwide, and the culmination of all the impact of all this, what happens? So it's so important that as we're in this state of shock, that we start allowing ourselves to think about our options, our choices. How are we going to move forward from the shock? And we need to prepare ourselves by focusing on the kind of world that we want to have, instead of the kind of world that we feel that we're going to have to keep fighting against. One has more influence and power. One carries more weight long term than the other. The one is just a Band-Aid. And the other is real healing on a personal level, and it expands outwardly and affects everyone else in the world, not just you. Just by that choice of faith, because the other one is giving in to that energy, giving in, and then recycling all of that energy. But it doesn't get transformed, it just gets recycled. And the energy as a recycling energy in this way is not healthy. It's never going to transform into anything healthy. You see, you're just recycling it. You're reusing it. The materials, it's all toxic. You can make it look all kinds of ways. You can make it look like justice or that you're, or some kind of, you can make it look like, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh my God. So simple. An advocate and an environmentalist, but oh my God, you know what I'm trying to say, right? I hope. An activist. You can make it look like activism, but we need an activism that is focused on healing, focused on replacing or putting into place what is actually needed. Something inspiring, not just reacting to fear. And that can be really powerful. It can really be a powerful form of activism. Getting people to put into place the things that we need, the solutions. Okay? All right, let's take a look at the cards for the week, because it's really gone past the time. All right, and we have the Three of Pentacles. I'm really sorry about the lighting. I want to try this because but this, let's see what this looks like. Oh, it is actually better. Sometimes it usually throws shadows. I should have thought of that. I'm sorry. All right, well, good enough for now. So we have the Three of Pentacles and teamwork, working together, and thinking about ways that we can do that. And also on a personal level, surrounding yourself, to help encourage your faith. You have to surround yourself with other people who are also practicing the same kind of faith. That is to say, people who are practicing the same kind of goals in a similar objective way, where they are practicing the desire rather than their worries and the limitations, where they're channeling that inspiration, and to help you. And sometimes we need this kind of feedback. We need this kind of collaboration, because a collaboration, one of the most important components of a collaboration, is the opportunity for feedback. Productive, constructive feedback. And it requires us to be open-minded. And when you work in a group, you have to be flexible. You have to be open-minded. And maybe in a time where you're feeling stuck and you're isolating yourself, maybe this is the perfect opportunity for you to get out of that isolation and place yourself in a vibrant situation where people are inspiring one another to achieve something. Okay? All right, let's take a look at the card for the middle of the week. And we have the Ace of Swords. And so we're talking about ideas here. ideas that kind of come out of this complexity, but sort of this breakthrough. And, patterns, our minds, our human mind works with patterns, but we can create extraordinary new patterns of behavior, ideas that can influence some kind of structure or something that's useful to people. Messages is the word I'm seeing as well. Messages, words. What we're doing here is all sort of a pattern of words that is clarifying the spiritual vibration that we all feel deep down in our knowing. And, if you feel called to collaborate with the universe in this way and to reveal those messages, but that can also be done in other ways. Every job that you have can be used in this same vein, where you're allowing the ideas that you feel on a vibrational level, the purpose or the mission, you feel it and you articulate it so that you motivate others. And if you're having ideas, solutions that are breakthroughs that can help others to get from one point to the next, or to develop something within your job or whatever it is that you're doing, this is important. So it's sort of like it almost feels like we're getting our heads sort of out of the sand, and we're stepping through that gateway with a new perspective. But first, we got to heal that emotional. We got to just even acknowledge that that our emotional state of being and our psychological state of being and those beliefs is holding us back, and that they are holding us back, and that we need to open up our minds. We need to open up our hearts and our minds, and we need to really look at the options. And hopefully one that is inspiring, because that will make it easier for you. Okay. And this, the Four of Swords, giving your mind a rest, right? It's sort of giving your mind a rest so your heart can heal. Giving your mind a rest so your heart can heal. So you may want to, in this week, it may require you to just step away. Or, let it go. Let it go. Step away, like if you, in the sense where I feel like either it's like you need to step away, collaborate with people of like mind, step away, reach out to people who are of like mind, break your cycle. Whatever your cycle is, you got to break it. Meditation is another thing that this card also refers to, is one way to break that emotional connection that you're feeling in that moment. If you can pause, recognize that you are creating what you're creating and it's unhealthy, that you're literally breaking down yourself psychologically and your physicalness, your spirit, you're breaking it down. And so you recognize that this is what you're doing, and you pause for that reason, to break the habit, sobering breaths until you're lightheaded, and then reflect and seek the enlightenment. Know that because you're seeking enlightenment in that moment, that it will come to you eventually. and that you will be able to connect in with the ideas. You'll find new patterns to focus upon that elevate you, that lead upward in some way, that will transform into a source of pure light. All right. Let's take a look at the cards. The card I already pulled from the bottom of the deck. Now this is interesting. The Page of Cups. For one important reason, because we finally bring in a card from the suit of the heart, right? So, and the Page of Cup here, you see, like, his feet are floating above the ground, and there's the pig flying. So there's that part of that faith, and the bowl, the singing bowl is floating, but going where your heart is resonating. The page may be a little naive, may not have all the practical wisdom, but the one thing he has is faith. Faith without limitation. Like, nothing holds him down. And it's one of the reasons why we see in his shadow aspect that, if we were having a different kind of reading, that, the advice would be for you to kind of plant your feet on the ground, and that you're not grounded enough and you're letting yourself get. But in this case, in the context of what we've been talking about today, you need to believe in something better. You need to believe in your dreams. You need to believe in the impossible. But you need, most of all, to devote yourself unwaveringly to what your heart resonates with, what you feel deep down in every fiber of your being is true and real, because it already is. And if you will just allow yourself to hold on to that feeling and to be continuously inspired from within that feeling, and let it inspire you step by step to discover all the opportunities, or what this opportunity will develop into, or the way to reach that goal, you will get there with this innocence, more than all the talking yourself out of it, worrying, stressing yourself and being worried because you're, telling yourself that the impossible can happen. Because you don't see other people doing this, and other people don't believe in it, and all this stuff. You got to put that kind of talk away. And you got to believe in the face of when everything else outside of you is telling you, no way. You have to believe. And those ideas will come. And you need to surround yourself with other people who can support you and who can help you in practical ways, because here we do have a Pentacles here, so that practicality is there, but you can get that practical advice from others who may be able to think of some solutions that you can't see because you're floating up there. But somebody has to be, it's like you need a balance of everything. You may not be able to get it within yourself, but you can find it in the others, right? Who may have those other components, those other elements that you need to create a whole, a unified situation, and a unified project, a unified momentum or movement or direction. So hold on to that, and then find people who are like-minded, what I mean by that, people who have the faith, but maybe they have other measures, approaches, some that are practical, some that are just impractical, but flexible, needing to explore, because we need to explore, we need to experiment. We need to create before we just say outright no. Okay? So I send you lots of love, and I forgot to mention at the beginning of this video that tonight we will be doing the third part 3 of the 2020 Ascension series of the live chat tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in New York, and hope you will join us there we'll be covering July, August, and September of the year 2020. And if you're looking for an angel reading, feel free to contact me at theangelschool.com, which you can find in the description link below. And don't forget to join us for our Facebook page for the daily card messages for the week. Everyone, God bless you and enjoy your life. That's what it was here for. So if you're spending a lot of time worrying, work to improve this. Bye-bye.